Okay, so what I was saying was the unit that moves the most is the one that is least likely to be able to um, respond to a situation or react, because the unit that in the space of time only moves a little bit, um, hypothetically, again, this is all hypothetical, has a little bit more control than one that has spent all of its time moving. So, one might say, when the two units get into contact with each other, you ask yourself, which one of these guys move the most, right? And the infantry and the cavalry in this situation, basically, um, the infantry moved more than the cavalry. Why? Because the cavalry has a base move already of 2. We made an adjustment to how we're playing the game. All units move 1. Cavalry is going to move 2. Then we roll the dice to see what additional distance they get. So in this particular case, the cavalry had a total movement of 5. So when you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, they moved only 4. The owner of the unit decided, I want to stop right there. So, okay, he only moved 4. Regardless what the total available was, he still moved 4. But the infantry moved a greater distance. So they have less time to react and automatically form for combat, right? So just trying to elucidate how this happened. But because we don't want to legislate things in stone, we have to give everybody the chance of defeating the odds and going against the grain, and defeating the expectation of things that you expect to happen. We want to take it out of the hands of the player and make it more random. So we say, okay, we already said that they're going to have less chance to react. When they get to the end of their move, they have less chance to react. And this player decided, I'm going to move them their full distance. So he moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The cavalry moved only 4. So the guy that moves the furthest distance has the least time to react. That's just kind of, we're just saying it that way. But so theoretically, he's still in a march column, right? But we do want to have them, to give them the ability of reacting to a situation. So we let them deploy if they roll red on the CNC die, which is a 1 in 3 chance. Actually, yes. So there's 2 red faces, 1 star face, and 3 blue. Anyway, so they have like 22% chance or something of passing the reaction and being able to deploy. Alternatively, you would roll a 1d10 on the Commander CVS for tactical, to see if they can react. So remember, there's a CVS value set. One is for combat, one's for communication, one's for tactical, one's aggressiveness, and the last value is for initiative. These are numbers that provide a system whereby you roll that number or greater to pass the check, whatever it might be. In this case, if you wanted to do the 1d10 die roll, you'd have to roll greater, I think, than this value for tactical is greater than a 6. So you'd have to roll 7, 8, 9, or 10 on a d10 to pass reaction. So we did that, and they do, in fact, pass, and they formed in time to meet the cavalry. They still, however, remember, you still have to check them for fear of contact. Remember, a lot of game systems say fear of charge. Well, we don't have a charge here. There's no charge movement per se. Oh, we're charging. There's no such thing. It's actually kind of a silly phrase anyway, and vastly overused. It simply means that here it's a fear of contact. And the opponent, in this case, cavalry, would roll after the opponent, which is not cavalry, rolls. Because the cavalry can be afraid of contact too. It's possible. But if the opponent passes, then the other combatant then also checks as well. Because they could have a fear of contact. But because of their elite status, they're unlikely to fail it. So the infantry is not elite and experienced, very, very experienced, but they did still pass. I should say that's, sorry, conflagrated two things. They did pass to form into line after March column, and they are now going to check and see if they pass the fear of contact, which I don't entirely know if they will. Let me see. I don't want to take away my camera view, or it doesn't even matter anymore. Am I even using that I don't even remember if I'm using that camera view. Yeah. So what we're looking at here, bottom left, as you're seeing it, is the GoPro view on this situation right here, where the troops have all moved on. And our little cavalry infantry situation. I think I can momentarily go to the app for rolling the die, and we will see if the infantry is a fearful of contact, and that will be red on the CNC die. And they passed. I should say not red, but code. All right. Color is blue. Code is two red faces, and CNC is the star face, which it happens to also be red. Could just as well be black, but or any other color, but it's just red with a white star. That's what we use. You could use anything. All right, so they passed. Melee will now occur as per usual. And before we do that, we'll describe what's happened here. So everybody's moved on. The Confederate commander has already determined the units that were going to be in that advancing column. And it was cavalry, infantry, artillery, infantry, and then cavalry bringing up the rear. So moving on, the gun sets down and deploys. It can't fire, however, until next turn. The two infantry units that are in or were in March column, they move and deploy into line without any incident. Commanders are placed at the rear. No reason to lose them right now or take a risk of losing them, so they're at the rear. However, it should be stated that this brigadier is right behind this artillery piece, and when that piece takes combat or fire from the enemy, that commander is going to have to check to see if he gets killed. So with all our units deployed, you see the Union's got the same thing. They got the two batteries. Their commanders are out of neighboring hex range, so they won't be included in any potential being hit from the firing. So when we go to the melee here, the cavalry has a value of 4. The infantry has a value of 3 because they passed that fear of contact. And that's a difference of 1, giving the cavalry a benefit automatically of 1. And the difference meaning that any higher amount greater than the opponent gives an additional combat hit. In this case, it's an incremental hit. So we will roll to see in the melee who, this is for the Confederates, they roll a red, and the Union rolls a red as well. So they both cause a red hit, and the Confederate cavalry gains an additional TE hit, or I should say not TE. It's the same thing, but it's incremental hit. Actually, it's not the same thing. A terrain effects hit is a different color than a incremental hit, which is either pink, anything but red. So they have that damage taken on them. Now, prior to the game, the players have decided, are we going to continue melees past the initial contact phase and calculation, or are we going to have it immediately resolved based on who loses the most? And the decision was that it was going to go into the next turn, or as many turns as it took before one unit or the other, both, suffered 3 red hits, and then they would rout. So with that, a red hit is caused on this unit, and a red hit is caused on the cavalry as well. And so therefore, the melee will continue into the next turn. In the combat over here, what we see here is a cornfield. A unit is behind the cornfield, cannot fire, but these 2 units certainly can. And when you look at their range, it's extremely close range. So if you want to have the single hex being a band, or 2 hexes being a band, which we can probably say is more than likely the case, then this would be automatic, and this would be color, which is blue, no commander effect, so blue needs to be rolled, and he missed. Same here, automatic color, no commander effect, and he got it. So there is a red hit. I'm sorry. Actually, yes. At this range, it is a red hit, not an incremental hit. So a red hit is placed on the Confederate unit, and of course the Confederate unit comes back and does the same damage to the Union unit. That the artillery cannot fire because it just sat down. Also, a commander needs to be checked to see if he is hit, and the answer is no, he's not. A star is needed for commanders to be hit. And there we are. So that's that resolution of those 2 marching columns coming in really close to each other and getting into melee and close combat right away. So the difference now is what happens over the rest of the field.